So I was really dumb and did not buy the batteries for this. Okay, maybe I put a little too much oil. Kind of like a little milky right now, but I think once I add the pasta will kind of soak it up. The sauce is so milky. Oh my gosh, I'm actually kind of freaking out. I think there's too much liquid in here. So we're gonna let's try the steak first. Hey y'all, it's Zoe. Welcome back to the video on my channel. So today I'm doing something a little different that I've never really done on YouTube before. I am going to be cooking on YouTube with you. So this is my kitchen. I have not been able to do a full room or apartment tour yet. That is on my list. I just need to get someone here to film it for me. So this is just a small little glimpse of my kitchen and dining room. It is kind of small, but here's my stovetop where I will be doing most of the cooking. I'm planning to keep my camera kind of over here, mostly because I don't want to get it too close to the fire and whatnot. So I just put some water to boil to make some pasta. I'm making steak and pasta, which I've never made before, but I'm really excited to try it because I love steak. So I'm going to wait for the water to boil and then read what I have to do for the steak. And then get going. Also, if y'all watch Love is Blind, there was a part of the show where one of the engaged members did not know how to boil water and also thought pasta was found in the fridge. And I just want to throw that out there. You make sure you find someone who knows how to do the simple task of boiling pasta. So let's wait for this water to boil while I prep some of the other ingredients. So this is the steak that I bought from Meijer. It is a New York strip steak. It does have a lot of fat in it, so I had to learn how to pick a steak, but basically you just kind of want whatever cut of meat you like to eat, like when you go to a steak restaurant. Usually, I heard this from my mom, so shout out to her, but usually if it has more fat, it can tend to be slightly more moist and a little bit more flavor than if it doesn't have any fat. But also I understand that some people are low fat diet or just don't want to eat fat, so you can cut off the fat, but you are meat with fat is slightly extra, so make sure that you just pick the right steak for you. So I'm going to take this out and then season it. I think it really doesn't matter what kind of seasoning you use. It's just kind of whatever seasoning you have or what you like on your steak. I'm just gonna do some pepper because I'm not a huge salt person, so I'm gonna do a little bit of pepper, and then if I have any kind of leafy type of herbal seasoning, I think I'm gonna put that on here too. And then it says, I'm using a recipe, so I can attach the recipe in the link, but it basically just says to just sear it on either side with some oil in a pan, and then that's pretty much all I have to do. For some reason I thought you had to cook this for 30 minutes. I was picturing putting it in a grill and closing the lid and letting it steam for 30 minutes, so I think I was overthinking that. I ended up buying a meat thermometer. So I bought a meat thermometer just so I can, because there's a certain internal temperature you want your steak, but I'm also just gonna cut it in the middle so I can check the pinkness, because I am the kind of person that likes mine still slightly pink. So let's go and season this steak. I think I need a plate of some sort. Right, so I just got out my wooden cutting board, which by the way, I got this for $7 at HomeGoods. Ever since I've moved to an apartment on my own, I mean not completely out on my own, I do still have stuff in my mom's house that I need to get out, but I do feel slightly more independent than I did kind of living in a college house. Even though this is on-campus housing, it still feels more starting the segue between living on my own. So I've been kind of buying stuff to furnish up the apartment, and I have fallen in love with HomeGoods. There's stuff there that is so cheap and really good quality, and so I really like this little mini cutting board because I don't need a huge cutting board, but it's nice to have. And I do have plastic ones here. I don't know if they're my roommates or if they belong to someone else, but I've been hearing a lot of things about it, the benefits of using a wooden cutting board as opposed to a plastic. So we're using wood today. And then I have my little strip steak, so I'm gonna wash my hands and then put the pepper and whatever other seasonings I can find on it. We literally only have pepper, don't have anything else, so that's what we're gonna use. I'm just gonna grind a little bit of pepper and kind of rub it into my steak. If I had something like anything leafy like oregano or like parsley, I might do something like that, but I'm just gonna kind of rub it in. I know you can't see what I'm doing, but I did it. You can kind of see the pepper, and then we're gonna do the other side. And also, my sink is like really small, and the one thing I hate about cooking is like how many dishes accumulate. So I'm definitely the kind of person that kind of like likes to wash stuff as I go. Okay, so there's the steak, and there's like some pepper that got on the board. So I'm probably just gonna like brush it onto the skillet. So I was told to cook the steak once my pasta's cooking, since it's not going to take very long. So this is just going to sit. I'm going to wash some dishes, and my water is almost ready to boil. Alright, so the water has boiled. I've kind of moved you over here so you can kind of see a little better. So always practice safe cooking habits. So I always take this off. I'm just going to set it over here for now because I am probably going to end up putting the lid back on. Alright, so for this meal I'm using thin spaghetti because I prefer thin spaghetti to regular spaghetti. But honestly, I think you can use any kind of pasta you want. I don't break it just because I'm the kind of person that does not like to break their pasta. So we're just going to put that in there. You do kind of have to do it, make sure they don't fall out because it is kind of like long noodle. Yeah, just like that. Alright, and then I'm going to use tongs because I like using tongs with like longer pasta, but you can use whatever kind of cooking utensil that you want to use. And we're just going to make sure that all of it gets in there, and then we're going to set a timer. So depending on the type of pasta you're making, some pasta will take longer to cook. It will usually say on the box like how long it takes to cook. I usually set a timer between 8 and 10 minutes, and then I always taste it before I take it out of the boiling water, because if you're the kind of person that likes their pasta softer, you're going to need to cook it longer. But if you're the kind of person that likes it harder, you're going to cook it for a short amount of time. And I always want to put my utensils on something, so I usually just opt for like a paper towel or like even the box. So I'm going to set a timer for about 9 minutes for this one. And then I'm going to get out my pot for my steak. Alright, so my roommate and I bought like a set of non-stick pots and pans, and it's come in handy. So let's look what the recipe says. Okay, so we do want to heat the skillet, and then we're going to add some oil to cook it. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it on. And it says medium to high heat, so we're just going to do that. And then it says to use olive oil, so I do have olive oil, but I also have vegetable oil, so I think it really just depends like what kind of oil you want. And then again, I do have my meat thermometer, but I'm also just going to plan to kind of cut it open like midway and see how we're going. I also don't know if like this needs batteries. I probably should have checked. Oh yeah, I think this might need batteries, and I did not get some. So actually, let's check and see. So I was really dumb and did not buy the batteries for this, so I'm gonna have to go back and do that. So it looks like we're just gonna have to use the old cut and see method for now, but this comes in handy when you're cooking any type of meat. So, and it even comes with like a little instructions on like how to cook each one. Alright, and then you do want to make sure that you are kind of stirring your pasta occasionally. Again, it does depend on the type of pasta you're using. I just like to stir it because one, it kind of helps it even out, and also it helps it kind of like not stick to the pan. Obviously these are like non-stick, so the chances of it sticking are a little less, but if you have like older pans, then you definitely want to stir occasionally. Alright, so I think that my skillet is hot, so I'm going to put like a dash of oil to help the steak kind of sear. Yeah, so once you see the oil like move around the pan like that, you pretty much know that it's good. So here's the steak with the seasoning. Again, I'm not doing anything super fancy with like marinades or seasonings. Okay, maybe I put a little too much oil. I'm going to turn it down a little. But yeah, if you're the kind of person that likes fancier steaks, I have seen so many ways to marinate a steak. Again, I use this when I'm touching it. But yeah, you don't want to sear it for very long. I think they said only a few minutes each side. And then again, I'll kind of like check in the middle and then stir my pasta as well. And then kind of turn the oil away from me while I stir that. This is looking good. Alright, so I do kind of start to see a little bit of brown. So I'm going to flip my steak over to the best of my abilities. Oh my god. Okay, there we go. I know you can't probably see it. I'll take it off. Here's what it looks like, nice and brown, which is good. I'm going to turn my heat up slightly. And because this one has fat, we do kind of want to cook it on its side as well. But yeah, I definitely put too much oil, so definitely change that for next time. And I'm going to try to get the sides. So I kind of want to pick it up from, yeah. So you kind of want to get the sides of your steak as well. Just make sure that everything cooks, basically. Alright, so I'm going to turn my heat down a little. I'm actually going to turn the heat off so the oil will stop spewing at me. And then I don't really have a steak knife, so we're just going to use what we have. So I'm going to cut into the steak and see if it's good. I do think it needs to cook a little more. It is slightly too rare for me. So we're just going to cook it a little longer. And then remember to stir your pasta as well. That should be coming along soon.
Approximately 10 hours later.
Alright, turn my heat off. We're going to check the inside of the steak again. It's the timer for the pasta. So we're going to taste the pasta. Spaghetti, it's a little harder to taste it, but we're going to try. So I'm just going to put like a little noodle on my fork, just like that. Alright, pasta's good. So I'm going to turn that off. I'm going to flip this and then I'm going to drain my pasta. And then I think our steak will pretty much be good, and then we can work on the sauce. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch these pots. So I'm actually going to move the steak one back here, and I'm going to move this one here. And we're going to do like a little shift, because now we're making our pasta sauce. So I think I have do I have a lid? I'm just going to use that pasta lid from earlier and use it to cover our steak so that it stays warm. And then we're going to make our sauce. Okay, so the recipe does not specify how much butter, so I have 4 tablespoons. I feel like that's pretty typical. So we're going to use butter, and we're also going to use minced garlic, and then I also have some chicken stock and some heavy cream. So I actually am probably going to start with just half of this, so like 2 tablespoons, and we're going to see if I like it. Just because I scrolled and I literally could not find how much butter they use, and I feel like for most recipes I kind of use like either a full like 4 tablespoons or I'll use like half. So we're going to cut up half this butter. We're going to put it in the pot. Turn our pot on. And then we also want some minced garlic. Again, I have like absolutely no idea how much minced garlic, so I'm just going to kind of put as much as I want. Maybe like a spoonful of garlic. Yeah, I think that's good. So I guess it just depends if you really like garlic. Alright, and then let's read what it says. Alright, so we're just kind of supposed to stir and let the garlic just like go in with the melted butter. So we're making this kind of like buttery garlic sauce. I also want to add that if you cook it on high, your garlic may burn. So you kind of want it on like medium low. So mine is kind of on medium right now while I'm melting my butter and garlic, and I'm kind of just stirring it around to make sure that the garlic doesn't melt. So that's just a personal note. And my battery is about to die, so I'm gonna have to get a replacement battery, but I can't just leave this on the stove. So I might have to switch to my phone. We'll see what happens. All right, so it is looking good. This recipe also says to add cream cheese, but again, it has no measurements, so I'm not gonna add cream cheese, but I have all the other measurements. I don't have all the other measurements, I have all the other ingredients. So I'm just gonna add this full thing of chicken stock and then some heavy cream. So this is just to kind of help like balance it out. Or maybe I won't use the full thing, but we're gonna use a lot of it. Maybe we'll use like half or full. I just don't want my pasta to be dry, you know. All right, so we're just gonna stir that around a little bit. And then here's my heavy cream, so we're gonna add some of that too. Also, I am still using my tongs because I did not want to dirty another pair of cooking utensils. Hey, looking kind of good. It's definitely like milky. All right, so I did run upstairs and get a new battery. Basically the recipe just told me to kind of let this sauce simmer and thicken up, so we did have another lid. And then my pasta still sitting in here, still warm. Hopefully my steak is still warm too. So we're just gonna let that sit, and then I do have to stir it, so we're gonna safety first and then kind of just stir it. And I did turn the heat up a little bit to kind of quicken the process. I went upstairs and I can smell the garlic, so I definitely think we used enough garlic.
2,000 years later.
Alright, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I do think that the cream cheese maybe will add to the thickness, but again, I'm not sure how much to take. So it's kind of like a little milky right now, but I think once I add the pasta will kind of soak it up. If it's not like thickening by now, I don't think it will. So we are just going to dump the pasta in. I'm gonna turn off the stove because I have absolutely no idea what to expect. Okay, I usually dump, but I think I'm going to tong it in. Guys, the sauce is so milky. Oh my gosh, I'm actually kind of freaking out. I think there's too much liquid in here. Why? I don't know why there were like no measurements. Usually once it like cooks for a little bit or like sits for a little bit, the liquid gets like soaked up. I have no idea if this is gonna taste good. I'm just gonna hope that it does because I'm gonna have leftovers. I can't eat this all by myself. Like, I'm actually crying how milky this is. I'm too embarrassed to show you on the camera. This was definitely like trial and error and like majority error. So love that for me. Now I have pasta soup. I'm actually gonna try to dump some of this. It's so embarrassing, guys, actually. Alright, I don't know if you could hear that liquid coming out, but yeah. It smells good though. I definitely can smell the garlic. Don't know if that's going to be a good thing or a bad thing. Still a little liquidy, but that's okay. Alright, we're going to plate this now, and we are going to hope and pray for the best. Okay, welcome to the dining room part of my apartment. Again, it's really small. Here is the final product. I added Parmesan cheese and pepper, and I think by the looks of it, I cooked the steak pretty good to my liking. And I also put like a drip of like some of the steak sauce on the pasta. This is about half the steak. Oh, I'm cutting it wrong. I learned you want to cut with the grain of the meat. So like in the direction of the meat. Okay, so it is slightly more on the medium side. It has like just that little bit of pink. So I might have cooked it slightly too long, but honestly, I think this looks pretty good for my first time making steak. And then I also have my cup of apple juice. I bought these like cute little fall cups and I thought they were really cute. So we're gonna let's try the steak first. I'm like super nervous to eat this pasta. Okay, let's try the steak. I did a pretty good job. I would say if you like flavor, you definitely want to like marinate this in something, because with just pepper, it's okay. But I'm the kind of person that's fine eating bland food, so. But yeah, I cooked a successful steak. Alright, so now we're gonna try this pasta. So we're gonna twirl it a little bit. Also, I recently learned a new hack if you use a spoon and twirl it, but I don't have that right now. Okay, honestly, it's not bad. I feel like there's a lot of, like, it does taste a little plain. Like, I know that there's stuff in there. So I feel like if you have a thicker sauce, that might help. Or maybe if you use a different pasta. But I can definitely taste the garlic, so we used a good amount. But overall, it tastes good. It's not, like, too bland. I also have lemon juice, so I might add, like, a dash of lemon juice. But overall, I would say this was a pretty successful meal. So thanks for watching. This is my first time doing anything like this. I was not planning to do this. Like, I didn't purposely buy the steak in order to make a YouTube video. It's kind of the reverse. I bought a steak and then I was like, what if I make this into a YouTube video? So if you enjoyed this little cooking video, let me know. I can make more. But otherwise, I'm going to eat this and I'll see you all next time. Bye!